Hello, friends. We are here to do another replay analysis. Originally, I wasn't gonna do one until I played a few more, but I've been watching some games. I played some, and I decided that although the game has changed, there are still a lot of stuff that is the same, like general laning mechanics. So I think it's okay to do a replay, and it's just kind of fun to do. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. We're gonna focus on Kiko Man here, the Winter Wyvern. Um, so Archon support, but playing with some friends. Well, one friend, I guess, Ancient. So essentially what's happening this game is that we have an Archon player who needs to play at a higher level in order to help his team overall. That's kind of what happens when you do party games and you have this like kind of this wide variety of ranks where you just have to play at a higher level or you're going to be in a bit of trouble. Um, Now, I believe although it says your support, I think you ended up playing hard support because I briefly looked at it and it looks like they also swap stuff around. Actually, what is this? Oh, this is a 4 support Night Stalker. I was like, what? How can they have 2 offlaners? Taking a look at items real quick. Items seem fine. Arcane boots could maybe be tranquils and then have an Aether instead. I feel like a lot of times when I see Winter Wyverns build arcane boots, it is to disassemble them and create a Aether lens later. Now sometimes your team does need mana. You do have a Darkseer who has Guardian Greaves though, so I don't feel like you need 2 pairs. But honestly, not that big of a deal. You got a Keen Optic. That's generally pretty good on Winter Wyvern. We're going to see what other neutrals you got. Maybe there was something better you could have switched to because this did go to, I think, 36 minutes, which means you have tier 3 items. And this is a tier 1 item, so we're just going to make sure that there was nothing better. Let's see, what else? I like to look through the scoreboard before going into a game because it gives you this. I find it both useful for myself to predict, like, here are the stats. What can you, like, assume from this? That's to help me in general. But I also think sometimes you can see some obvious mistakes from the scoreboards, like bad itemization, bad skilling. This looks pretty good. Like, you've got all your support stuff. Winter Wyvern is a hero that can. So I don't play much Winter Wyvern. Let me disclaimer that. I think she's a fantastic hero and one I should add to my hero pool, but I just don't play the hero much, which is really funny because at the start, there was a time where I just hated the hero. I thought it was so boring. And now I'm like, wow, the hero's really cool, but I still just don't play it. Eventually I'll get to it. But so I want to say, like, I'm rough on the specifics, but I do believe Winter Wyvern is a hero that can double stack. So we might want to try to point out some opportunities you have for that, especially because with this recent patch, it just became even better to stack camps. So that would be a great thing to implement into your play. Skill build all seems fine. What talents are these? What's her other 10 talent? Well, we'll look into that in the game. So overall, I would say it's fine. Actually, let's not spoil ourselves on the scoreboard. You do win this game, it looks like, but it doesn't seem like too much of a stomp. So let's take a look. Do I cut this? No, I'll use this time to explain. So in the past videos, I would edit clips and then I could bump my audio up afterwards. But some of these replays where it's all just one go and I don't edit like anything in really, I can just upload those without post editing. But sometimes the audio is a little weird. So let me know if they're too quiet and I'll make sure, like, I'll look into adjusting all that. But we're in the game now. In terms of the draft,
Everybody get set.
so it looks like you're deciding on your items. That's fine. I won't talk about it that much. Like we said, we do want to try to leave as quickly as possible, but if it happens, like, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'll just point it out whenever it happens. I think your items are fine overall. Let's see. You're against a Nature's Prophet, probably, in the offlane. Probably Rubik. So probably these 2 green guys right here. Wow, we've got a lot of blue heroes, I just realized. My thoughts going into this game. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to guess some communication stuff. Again, I'm just going to point it out just to remind, like, the ideal is to move out as quick as possible, but I know that there are cases where, like, something happens. Looking at this lineup, actually, well, we're going to find out in a second, and I know technically we could see it in that scoreboard, but I'm imagining from your perspective. So every region has its own kind of meta, I know. This is SEA. So technically, oh, actually, okay, you missed it, but we saw it was green, so that was Rubik. And okay, taking a look at Lich, I saw Brown down here. So we've actually seen 4 heroes right now. Okay, so now we know the lanes. Originally, I was unsure who the mid was. Like if I was you playing this game and I was like, who is the mid here? It's kind of weird. These two, Lich and Rubik, are probably the supports. But Vengeful Spirit, Luna, Nature's Prophet. That is a weird trio to be the cores. So like Nature's Prophet and Luna is normal enough. Venge is a little weird. So I would be unsure what the lanes are, but I do know this game is going to feature a lot of right-click damage. It's actually very interesting because these two heroes do provide, like, these 4 provide a decent amount of magic between Luna ult, his ult, and then like Lich and Rubik just having general magic damage. But Vengeful subtracts armor, and Luna, like besides her ultimate, is heavy right-click. And Nature's Prophet, despite his strong ult, with his treants and his general skill build, he will be right-click damage. So I would be thinking about that for your team. Like, okay, we're going to want a lot of armor and like right-click reduction stuff, like Crimson Guard. And in that regard, you're actually quite a strong hero this game with your ultimate and your E. You're stuttering here a little bit. What am I? Okay, so what you're trying to do is attack move, which you were getting for the most part, but you're trying to attack a little too soon. This is a very minute thing, but I know that it does have a result. I watched like the first 2 minutes of this before we did this replay. So I'm going to point this out. Let's go slow. See how you attack, and now you move. Now you attack, but you see how you weren't attacking for a little bit? It was like a very minuscule amount of time. But that stuff can matter. And in fact, I think it will matter in this clip where, see, you're waiting here again a little too long. Same deal, waiting a little bit. It's like a very small amount. But ultimately, you never get in range to attack again. And he gets away with 20 health. So 1 extra auto attack would have killed this guy. And I kind of feel that you may have been able to get that auto attack here by attack moving just a little better. That's a very technical thing. In the grand scheme of things, it's not the biggest deal. And the fact is, he started with treants, didn't have them for some reason. Like he didn't use them here to scout or anything. And he doesn't have a salve, doesn't have his teleport. So you actually, like, even though you didn't kill him, this is actually a fantastic start for you guys. He has to go back or just risk dying right off the bat. So overall, great choice to go aggressive on that guy and chase him around a bit. Unfortunately, Night Stalker's going to die here. Not your fault. We're not going to worry about that. But yeah, I just wanted to point out, maybe you could have gotten that kill. I like that you're looking at what's happening. I'm not sure if you were clicking the heroes, though, to see what their items were. So right now, because no one's in the lane, you know Nature's Prophet's gone. Or you don't know he's gone, but he's not showing. So I like this. You're looking around for him. Nature's Prophet was so low. I don't know if you clicked him or not, but if you did, you would have seen he didn't have a salve, which means he has 2 options when you almost kill him like that. He has to run all the way back, or he'll try to hide in these trees while healing. So that's what I would be doing if I was you. Let's go back a little bit. So let's go to free cam. So you fail the kill. If I were you, so right here, I would say, you know that they have all their other heroes are like in this area. So Nature's Prophet is alone. I would stand right here if I was you, because we just covered he has 2 options. He goes back or he tries to run into these trees. And the only way to get into these trees is to go this way. This first creep wave will not aggro to you. And I guess all the other creep waves won't aggro to you either. I'm actually not sure how that works. Is it only this way? I have to double check this now. But at least this first wave won't attack you. So you could stand right here, and if this guy walks up, you just attack him. Like, your spell's still on cooldown, but it's fine. You'll just zone him away. And that way you'll know if he decided to go back or to hide in the trees. Let's speed up here. So you do come out to look. I like that. So we can just speed it up a little bit, right? Like 10, 20 seconds sooner. Sometimes that's all the difference you need. Yeah, I'm not sure actually with the creep aggro change. I've never like stood up here to be aggroed by like the next waves. I'm gonna have to double check that. I'm not sure if you meant to block the hard camp. What was he trying to do there? I'm not sure. Yeah, see, this doesn't work. I guess you also realize it doesn't work. I actually don't think you need to use your Q quite yet. Oh, maybe it was because you were blocked by the trees. Okay, yeah. In this case, I feel like you can just walk up to him and auto attack first, and then as he starts to get out of range of you, then you use Q and attack him. Because right now, the slow doesn't do much, right? The slow and the bonus attack range, when you're this close to him, this is just your normal attack range. So I feel like you could just walk up, attack. You can see where he is because the creep saw him. So you know, like, if he goes this way, you meet him here and start auto-attacking and chase him with your Q. Or if he goes this way, you can chase him there. And then just save your Q until he starts to get out of range. And that way you can make use of the slow and the bonus attack range from your Q. Whereas, like, if you're attacking him and he's right next to you, it's like, it's not really doing anything, you know? You're getting the bonus damage, but not the, you're not making use of the rest of it. Okay, a pull. I think half pulling there would have been really good. This is a really good camp for half pulls. And, okay, so right now, they kill one, and now he's here. So I actually think they could have killed that creep faster, because the two little ghosts died because all these melees are hitting him. So if you only had two creeps here, those little ghosts would have survived longer, and they would have killed that melee sooner, and honestly started to hit this range creep already at this point, before Rubik could get here. And now Rubik is going to get the XP on this range creep, unless you can deny it. But at least one creep would have definitely been denied, whereas I think Rubik probably got in range of that melee creep dying. But anyways, the other benefit of the half pull is that right now Drow is under tower. Tower does have a better armor and health aura than it did before, but Drow still doesn't love tanking damage, especially against a Nature's Prophet, where he has a Blightstone, he has Treants. Leaving her under tower alone could be very dangerous. So I really like the half pull here for all the benefits of a half pull that we've talked about in the past, as well as giving Drow some creeps to tank some of this damage for her. Yeah, and then let's go back to you. You're going to be attacked here. I'm going to point out Wyvern is a fairly low hero. This is a little... I think you're a bit undecisive. So the way you're walking right now, let's slow down a little bit. So if you wanted to go to the tower, you're kind of like running down and looping this way, which is ever so slightly longer than like cutting at a sharper angle around all of this. So that could have made a difference. But you don't even need to go to this tower. You could go down this way, where it's like, see how you're taking this like wide loop? I think you could probably go this way, and that way he remains out of range from you, or he has to like run further. He's only going to get one more auto attack in. Like, he's not that much faster than you, so the time he has to stand still and auto attack while you're still running at that time, like, he will not get to auto attack again, even though he's faster than you. It's just going to take too long to catch up to you and then start another auto attack. And even if he gets the second auto attack off, he's just never going to get a third one after that. But by running this way, you're kind of always keeping in range of him, and he only has to run to cut you off a little bit. So I think running this way would have been better. So like, you see them attack you, you start running this way, you eat this tree, and you just keep running this way, cutting along here, trying to break line of sight, and just going this way so that only Rubik can hit you. And Rubik, he has a decent amount of damage, but it's not that bad. He does have boots, so he'll chase you, but just Rubik chasing you and attacking is much better than this guy. Nature's Prophet is known to have a very strong right click, and he's got the Blightstone. So I think you probably could have survived here if you ran this way instead of this way. A stick... I think a Ring of Protection may have been better for you here. Or Would movement speed have helped? I like the Ring of Protection I like a lot, because if you look, Blightstone removes 2 armor, and essentially this is 300 gold, and a Ring of Protection is 175 gold. So your 175 gold item cancels out his Blightstone. So it's kind of more cost efficient for you in that regard. But also, a lot of their harass, and don't forget about the treants, is all right click. So any amount of armor is great. You could potentially even buy a buckler. Drow has decent armor. She's getting 3 extra from this tower, but 2 more armor, not too bad against a lane that is going to be heavy right-click harass. That's kind of how Treant functions. As an offlaner, he just creates a lot of pressure, and it's usually all right-click, especially in the early laning stage. Between the Treants and his right-clicks, like, it's just all physical damage. So against Nature's Prophet, you generally want wave clear or a lot of armor / regen, and usually a mix of both. So I wouldn't mind an early buckler on you, and considering, like, even if you don't build a mech out of it, and you do have a Darkseer who tends to build those kind of items, I believe mech and buckler should stack in their armor auras, so you would have a lot of bonus armor for the team. And like we talked about, she's going to be subtracting armor with her abilities, and all of these guys, they're all going to be doing a lot of right click damage, so just a lot of armor in general. It's a very cheap item, so I think that would have been better than a stick. If we look at their spells, 34-second cooldown, 16, but he can't spam it too much. It's 135 mana. He doesn't have a massive mana pool. Nature's Prophet, he's going to use Nature's Call like once every 37 seconds, and you might not even be in range of it. And then you're not really going to be in range of teleport when he uses that. And even if you are, it's like a 50-second cooldown. So they aren't going to cast that many spells. So I feel like the Ring of Protection would be a little more value for you at this point. Does your Drow need anything? Nope. That might have been a mistake. You might have accidentally... It looks like... I think you're teleporting to the outpost right now. Oh. Same deal here where... This might work out, actually. But you also... Okay, you might have been able to get this kill. So, right here, you see... Oh, yeah, okay, you see him, because you placed that ward. And... I think you could just auto-attack first. Okay. Okay, so you could still be auto-attacking. And then you can W this creep right here. That would add an extra 100 damage and 30% slow. And let's see how little health he had when he got away. Oh, these treants blocked it. He has 156 health. So imagine if you did 100 damage, it gets reduced to like 75 damage, so he has 75 health left. But then you also get the slow, and Drow probably should have used her, what's it called, multi-shot, sooner before these treants could get in the way, and that probably would have been a kill. It may have even been a kill if she had just used this multi-shot sooner and hit him without getting blocked by these treants. But I think it's totally worth using your Splinter Blast to like definitely get the kill, especially because you still have 2 clarities and 2 mangoes overall. You just haven't been... I guess you haven't had a chance to use them quite yet, honestly. But yeah, I think that could have been a kill. Ooh, okay, you used it there. Ah! So close. All good. Okay, I would be keeping an eye out because he is kind of low. You can look for Splinter Blast, and Multi-Shot should be up soon. Yeah, it's up. So I would be keeping an eye on that. But you know what? If you back up in Clarity, not too bad either. You forced a support rotation, got an offlane kill. I would be looking to pull right now, though. You definitely could have pulled this small camp. So yeah, if you, like, right now, run to the small camp. Okay, so maybe you're considering the kill, but now, like, you still have time to pull the small camp right here. It's 43 seconds. You would run here. Oh, it's a Kobold camp. The worst. But it's still good for you to pull, honestly. You can pull the whole wave in this case. The whole camp will die, and these creeps will return to lane soon enough that, like, look how large this wave is. You'll be fine to do this. The issue we covered before is like when you pull the whole wave, if the enemy creeps run their tower, but that is not going to happen this time. So you can pull the whole wave, and in fact, you could even try to connect the pull if you want. Or you could pull the whole wave, let it go back, and then do another pull this way. That's a little more risky, though, because sometimes at that point they might have pushed the lane back in and interrupted. But even if you just pull this wave and don't do anything else, like, that will still be good for you overall because you will get this camp. Another option you have is to stack right now, but I like pulling more because you could control this wave a bit better, and because he's dead. I think pulling this and then trying to connect the pull, I think that's the best course of action right here. Also, let's try to pay attention to the magic stick charges. Since you bought them, let's, like, consider how well it's done. Okay, so you guys do get a hard camp, pull, and stack. But see, okay, so this is kind of exactly the issue, where if you had done, it's like overall this is fine. But see, they push up now. And they're actually, wait, is this the same wave or am I crazy? Let me go back. Let me just double check. I suddenly have a doubt. Okay, no, this is the same wave we were talking about. So yeah, you pull this. And so right now, this camp would have been dead at this point if you had pulled this at like the 48-ish mark. And you'd be connecting the pull right around now. So some of these would already be weak. You wouldn't have gotten the stack, but Drow maybe could have stacked it instead, or Drow could have helped you do the pull where she stands here, hits this, and like completes the stack for you. And now they're here for the experience. So one creep died, but I think he was within range. So in terms of controlling the lane, objective completed. Like, the lane is pushing in this way to you guys. But now they are here for all the experience, and it looks like he might even get a lot of this hard camp farm, which is definitely not ideal. Yeah, so, and yeah, he's farming it now. So yeah, I would say I like that small camp and connect pull a lot more, because even if they do come to interrupt it then, you've at least gotten all of this experience to yourself, and you, like, I think one or two creeps may have died in that time if you had started the small pull first. Although in this case it's a kobold camp, so like I think it would have ended up in a very similar result if you did this. But if it had been any other camp besides kobolds, like, I think it would just be a better result than what you ended up with now. When you try to do this hard camp stack and pull, you have to be very careful, because even though we had 6 large creeps here, like you saw what happened with Lich, and Nature's Prophet is someone that can push very quickly. And so if they suspect you're pulling, sometimes they will just shove the lane in and like come intercept. But yeah, we're at 20 minutes, 24 minutes, and we're at 4 minutes into the game. I think that's just how all these replays are going to go. I just think there's a lot to do on the laning stage. We're at 5 stick charges. You should definitely be the one getting the rune. If you forgot, no big deal. But yeah, I would be keeping that in mind. Try to remember the rune, and you're the one who risks your life to get it. This is a good kill. I think Lich went to get the rune. Okay, so it looks like you're thinking about pulling now. I'm not sure. Okay, you're thinking about ganking. I'm not sure. I don't know. Winter Wyvern's not the best ganker. This is the guy you're partied with, though, so maybe he was calling for it. I would just be a little concerned, because I don't think you're the best at ganking as Winter Wyvern, and because Lich and Nature's Prophet, they can kill Drow on their own if she's a bit out of position. So I think you had done the pull and then you left. I think just doing the pull, making sure you get all the experience, and then connecting this, I think that would have been really nice. I think your ult is very good this game to get free kills pretty much. With like this lineup that is so strong at right clicking. And they have like treants, which don't add that much damage, but it's some. And so if you get a good ult on next to a couple cores, like I think that's a free kill and it sets up your fight to just be a win. And so I would want to hit 6 as soon as I can, which means like standing around pulling as much as you can. So this is a good pull. I would attack. Oops. I would be... Ooh, 2 pulls. I kind of like that, actually. I'm okay with that. Because Drow was here to farm this camp, so if we go back... So you did this pull, and then Drow can come do this. So maybe tell her. I don't know if she knew, but she's missing some of this stuff. She could be denying and getting last hits. Okay, she got that one in the end. And now you're pulling. Overall, I like that a lot. I think you could be denying some of these and getting last hits. I'm not... Actually, I should go to your perspective. Then I would know what you're looking at. I feel like getting these last hits to like finish up boots or anything. Maybe you're thinking about stacking. That would be pretty good. Okay, I think you were, I guess, stacking. Did that not work? I guess that was a little too late. I thought that would have worked. I thought that was good. Ooh, interesting. I wouldn't chase too hard. Ooh, nice. Okay. Okay, pretty good. This is bold. You're running in here with very low health. I'd be really scared if I was you. I would also be considering to use Cold Embrace on myself because I do have... You still have these clarities. That's the other thing. So that was another way you could have played this lane out. At this point, it's a little redundant to say. But against Nature's Prophet, wherever he is, because he has the summons, and against any offlaner that has summons or innately pushes the lane, like Darkseer, using AoE spells such as Splinter Blast or Seijikiro's Dual Breath, things that usually push the lane and it's like, oh, this is bad. But when they have a bunch of summons that tend to just push the lane and tend to, even if they don't push the lane, they just win the lane by having those summons. So like, even if Nature's Prophet doesn't push the lane, but he just has treants next to him, he's winning the lane because it's difficult to contest him. Or like Beastmaster with his boars. In those kind of lanes, it's okay to spam Splinter Blast a decent amount as long as you're getting, like, securing ranged last hits, damaging the summons, and damaging the heroes. Like, some combination of those 3 things. And so I wouldn't have minded if you had used Splinter Blast more in the laning stage and... Like, you had 2 mangoes and 2 clarities. That's kind of what I thought you were going to do, is just, like, spam out Splinter Blast. In the end, the laning stage still went pretty decently. We just covered. So I don't hate how it went, but it does feel a little awkward because, like, you did buy 2 mangoes and 2 clarities. And so, because we're at this point now where you didn't use it, but the lane still went okay. And if we look at... Let's look at net worth real quick. Like, yeah, Drow's not... She's at the top. She's a little behind Luna, but... kind of expected a little bit. Your buddy's beating Venge. You're doing pretty well. Night Stalker as a 4 is not doing that great. That's why I don't think Night Stalker is that good as a 4, but not really what we're here for. Your buddy is doing, and by buddy I mean just Night Stalker, he's not doing that well. I think he needs to be the one with the tome. This is why I think it would have been really good, because you guys were doing well in the laning stage. I think it would have been really good to be focused more on these pulls to get the 6 yourself, because Night Stalker is a hero that really needs levels. And I think if you had stayed in the lane a little more, and even right now, you still have time to go sit in lanes a bit, stack stuff, get more experience, and so that you won't need to buy the tome, and let this Night Stalker get it instead. Maybe that's what's going to happen anyways. We'll see. But yeah, during that time, you should have been moving to like bounty runes and stacking or something. So you could have stacked, like you could have stacked the Ancients this game. Drow can farm Ancients pretty well once she hits 6. So in that time, you were just standing around, not sure what to do. I think, I don't mind if you're standing around, but I would be here to stack. And so this is probably what I would do. I would stand around here, 955-ish, hit these Ancients, run up here, try to get this bounty rune if Darkseer's not already there. If he is there, then it's fine. Just like stack the camp and then come this way. It's a little... It might be possible. Again, I don't play too much Winter Wyvern. Because it's nighttime, I don't think you can see both camps to stack at once. But I think there is a way to double stack around here with Wyvern. I might be wrong on that. If you really like Wyvern, I would look into that. I think she can double stack there, though. I would be really worried about coming up here by herself. She's a Vengeful, which is a weird, but she is the mid, technically, so she does a decent amount of damage. I'd be a little careful to approach her on your own. Probably could have stacked. You go back like to like around here. You could just be setting up to stack. There's nothing like for you to do here. Maybe you were looking for the wards, I guess. I think you could just stack first and then go get the ward. That would just be another opportunity to stack. You did end up taking the tome, and so like I want to point out, like you're so close to 6 at this point that you don't really need the tome. You could just sit in a lane for 1 creep wave, and then you'd have 6. Whereas this guy, because he did get a kill, he did catch up a little bit, but he's still farther behind than you. And honestly, once you have your ult, you're kind of good on Wyvern, Winter Wyvern. You don't really need a whole ton of levels. So I kind of do like the idea of him getting it instead. This is an issue because like I just don't think he's a very good 4 because he needs so many levels. And so to try to make it work, I think he needs the tome. Right now, I think you guys should be playing top. I think you should be keeping this area clean with wards, and then just leaving here. Like, go top. Drow will just farm. And then you guys teleport if she needs help. The ward... it is a little more risky because there is a Nature's Prophet, so, like, 2 of them could run up and then go on you. You do end up getting 2 kills, so overall this is fine. I feel like with Darkseer, though... he's almost dead here. I feel like with Darkseer, you do want to be playing aggressive with him when Ion Shell is doing 90 damage per second. That is the most effective in this early game. So, like, Darkseer, Ion Shells himself, and Night Stalker. They both run on top of someone, so they run next to that person for 5 seconds. That is about 1,000 damage. And you're there to make it easier to slow people, to hit them with a Splinter Blast. You know, like, that's probably a kill on anyone. She has, what, 1,200 health? Yeah. So 2 of them running next to her with Ion Shell for a few seconds while you slow her, hit her with this. He's using, like, Void. If he needs to, he'll, like, vacuum her. Like, she's definitely dead. And she's the carry. So you did end up killing, like, a couple heroes down here. But keeping in mind, like, our objectives overall, usually the safe lane tower is the best one to get. Now, if you guys do turn this into a tower, I'd be okay. But it looks like you guys are going to back up. And honestly, getting this tower is not that big of a deal. The offlane tower is more important. Yeah, and so this is the issue. So you were playing bottom, and now you've had to TP top. But first of all, it was a little slow, so this tower's already fallen. But now you're stuck up here without a teleport. And so now if Drow needs you, you can't go to her. And she was your priority. And this tower... Defending this tower was not your priority. Taking this tower was. So in terms of priorities, it was like, get this tower, defend Drow in this lane, defend this tower. And so what ended up happening is you put yourself in the second priority and then TP'd for the third priority, and the first priority was not touched. And so yeah, you did like correctly prioritize, like, okay, second is more important than third, but it would have been better to like run up here, play the first priority objective, be ready to teleport to the second priority objective. And by playing the first priority objective, which is taking this tower, like if the lane is up here, you are just defending this third priority objective. So this is why playing in that safe lane is kind of better. It's like two things at once. You're protecting this tower and pushing this one. Whereas when you're down here with Drow, you are protecting her, but she really wants a lot of solo XP and farm at this time. So if she can do that, you just want to let her do that. And if she gets threatened, that's when you teleport in to help. So yeah. It's like impossible to last it at the tier 2 as a support. It's so hard. Stack? It's hard to remember, I know. Honestly, it's easier for me to point it out because I'm not playing. I'm just watching, right? When I play, I absolutely forget to stack all the time. But I will point it out in a replay because I think it's what I'm supposed to do, right? To point out all the like missed opportunities. And if I watch my own replays, I do that too, where it's like, I definitely could have gotten the stack here. Whoa. Okay, good D ward. You could probably put the sentry a little further away too. Oops. Where, like, do you really need sentry vision over here? You know, it's not that important. I would kind of like push it out a little further. And like, so let's cover all the points where you need true sight. So up here is good. Over here is good. And over here is good. What do you not need to see? You don't really need to see down here. Like, who really puts wards down here? It doesn't happen. Does anyone, like, are they going to put a ward here that is blocked by this cliff, this tree? Like, they're not. Do you need to see someone here? No one's going to be invis here. If they're farming this wave, they're going to be over here, or this camp, sorry. So moving this, like, around here covers more useful area. Where you're still covering the cliff, you're still covering this entrance where they might put wards. So you've got all this covered. But you also cover a bit further back where they may put like a very defensive ward back here. So I like that. Now, if you want to hide the sentry, I'm okay with that too, where you like put it in here and you'll still cover this and you'll cover most of this. You won't get as much like over here, but because you're like by putting it in here, you're saying like, I'm going to hide it a little bit. That's okay. But by putting it out here, it's just as in the open as if you had put the sentry like here. So you're not hiding it in any way. And so if you're not going to hide it, you might as well put it in a spot where it covers the most area. Especially because if they de-ward this, they're going to put a sentry here and it's going to spot this. And if they put a sentry like out here, it's going to spot either of these anyways. It's very unlikely that they put the sentry like down here because they're going to want to check this high ground. So any sentry that will cover this high ground will likely cover like these two. Any reasonable sentry. It's kind of weird to like place the sentry. Actually, it's not that weird to place their sentry here, but in which case both of these would have been safe anyways. But if they're going to de-ward this and they're going to place the sentry in this area, like all of these will cover both these spots. Arcane boots first. I don't think it's really necessary. I would probably be rushing.
All right, carry on.
What's she getting? She's getting a Dragon Lance into BKB. All right. Oh, there's a log pause. Okay, here we go. I think. Okay, so both Drow and OD can get 4 staffs. So if you don't want to get a 4 staff yet, I would be okay with that so long as you check your cores and see that they are building 4 staff. If neither of them is building 4 staff right now, then I think you need to build 4 staff as your first item because it's really good against Nature's Prophet when he sprouts. Like, I know he's got his Quelling Blade still, but all of these guys will just be trapped And including you, if you're not able to, if you don't have Arctic Burn for whatever reason, if it's on cooldown, you're all trapped in Sprout, and you're getting wrecked by right clicks. So having a Force Staff is really important this game to get out of Sprout, and having multiple Force Staffs will not hurt. Like, he'll always have Sprout, and for, like, OD or Drow may want to use Force Staff aggressively. And so you having a third one to save defensively is still very good. It's okay to have, like, multiple overlapping Force Staffs in this case, because the utility it provides is just really good. This doesn't apply for other items, so, like, having multiple Glimmers is often not worth it. But Force Staff is pretty unique in that regard, where, like, usually having a lot of Force Staffs is totally fine. But you don't need to build them all at once. So, like, if you were all building Force Staff right now just for Nature's Prophet, probably not worthwhile. If it was against, like, a Ricky, Clockwork, Nature's Prophet, Night Stalker, yeah, everyone can build Force Staffs. You have a lot of needs for it. But because it's just Nature's Prophet, don't need 3 at once. You can stagger it a little, where if you're building one, okay, these guys can build, like, BKB or, you know, whatever else they want to build first. A Blink, maybe. And then later, they might go back for the Force Staff. Or because you have it, they might decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to skip the Force Staff this game. Like, I don't really, like, the Winter Wyvern has it covered, and it's just a Nature's Prophet, so it's like, okay. So I would definitely like a Force Staff against him. I also like Force Staff against Lich because of his ultimate, which just bounces around you. So if you see it bouncing to you, you can Force Staff yourself away from teammates and just make the bouncing stop. And that just kind of, like, man, if he hits one person with Chain Frost and that's it, like, not a very big ult. So I think having an item to cancel that or to ruin the usefulness of Chain Frost is pretty big. Same deal, getting out of Luna ult, also very nice. And then Vengeful and Rubik, who can change your position against your will, having a Force Staff to reposition can be very good. So I really like Force Staff this game, and I would say that's your first priority item. I don't feel like Energy Booster into Arcane Boots does that much for your team. Like, he's never going to have mana issues. She can have some, but she should just have a clarity to maintain her own issues. Night Stalker has some issues, but they're also not solved by one person's Arcane Boots. It's just something he has to play defensively, or not defensively. He has to, like, manage it himself. And then Darkseer, he has a Soul Ring, and eventually looks like he's going to buy... He might buy Greaves. That's something you can ask and communicate. This is another chance to stack, by the way. I was talking about items, but let's point that out. Where are you right now? I'm not sure why you're TPing here. Maybe you were thinking about trying to get the kill. Okay, she was kind of low. But it was a little hard to set up there. And I think maybe I would have just stayed bottom for the rune and just let Darkseer get this top rune. But you know what? Considering, like, maybe she pushes, you can get a kill, I'm okay with it. Trying to make a play there. So I guess you wouldn't have made it in time to stack if you're TPing there. Same deal. This whole time, I think you should be playing top with Darkseer. I think you should be taking this tower. And the thing is, while the 3 of you are up here, so let's go back to that talk about, like, oh, by playing the first objective, we're also defending our third priority, like, defend this tower. You're actually doing all 3 in general when you're coming up here. Let's say 3 of you are playing here. It's you, Night Stalker, and Darkseer. And so to respond, their supports come up here. And they have Lich and Rubik up here and Luna. If OD is mid and he sees Vengeful mid, he is not likely to kill Drow on her own. He needs someone else. And in fact, the way to kill Drow is to have, like, 2 other people be here, like Venge and one of the supports, and then he TPs in, and that's how you get a kill on Drow. But if you're just forcing 3 people up here, you are now pressuring this tower, protecting Drow by creating space up here, and protecting this tower by, you know, forcing the lane to be up here. That's why being here is so good. And so that still applies. I said it a couple minutes ago, but is it that different? If you're up here, you're pressuring this tower, that's objective 1. By forcing people to be up here, you're protecting Drow, objective 2. Your tower is dead now, so that part's kind of gone. But in a way, you can just extend it. You can be like, well, if we're forcing people up here, we're kind of protecting mid and safe lane, right? Because if 3 people are up here, how are they going to push? Nature's Prophet's gonna push. That's a different issue. Against against any other offlaner, it would have like been better. Nature's Prophet can push these on his own anyways. But still, just being up here just accomplishes so much. And it just doesn't work the same way. Like if you're all mid, it becomes really awkward because this is a weird place for multiple people to play, just the way the map is like made. It's like awkward for a lot of people to sit around, and there's no like camps to do, there's no pulling you can do. Whereas when you're up here, you can do like side pulls, and you're hiding in the trees so that they're afraid to come out either way. It doesn't work in the safe lane as much because like we don't care about, it's like that tower priority thing. It's like, okay, we're threatening this tower that we don't care that much about. We're protecting our offlaner by forcing 3 people down here. Like we're protecting this Darkseer while Drow is the one that wants to farm a lot by herself. And we're also protecting our safe lane tier tower, which is actually quite nice. It is good to protect this tower. But you see how those first other 2 priorities are like weird. It's like, oh, we're taking their offlane tower and protecting Darkseer. You could swap it where Darkseer comes down here and Drow is up here. But then Drow is a little, like, it is unsafe for her to come up here by herself while this tower is up. Whereas being down here alone is a little safer, where she sees people come in and she can go rotate over here quite safely and even, like, TP out. But, like, we want to get up here and take this tower to set this up to be a safe spot, which is shifting a little bit with the outpost change, but let's not worry about that too much right now. And so, like, right now, I still think that is the whole deal. It's like, I think you should be up here pushing this tower with Darkseer. He's got his ult. He's got some decent items with his helm. Like, look how close this is. Like, anyone with him, and that is a kill. She ended up with, where am I? I'm lost. 556 health. Like, this does 340 damage. This burns off a good amount of health. Maybe you even save his life a little longer, and she's still sitting there awkwardly taking damage from Ion Shell because she can't finish him off with her right clicks, and she has to wait for her Q to come up. Like, just you being up there would have killed her. Just Night Stalker being up there would have killed her. He's the guy you want to play with right now. Ion Shell is going to get less and less useful as the game goes on. Nukes in general are the best in the early game when people don't have a lot of health. But as people buy BKBs, they buy Dragon Lances, whatever, things that just give them health. 90 damage per second, which before, it's like, if I stand next to him for 10 seconds, he's dead. Now it's like, I have to stand next to him for like 20 seconds, and it's just not as good. Did you kill him? That was good. Or your team kills him anyways. And now you guys are finally top. There we go. All right, let's get this tower. I don't think you actually need to place... I'm not sure who placed that ward, if it was you or Night Stalker or Darkseer, because we were zooming around. But because the 3 of you just killed their carry, it's really unlikely they're going to protect this tower, and you guys were going to take it within a couple seconds. And so, like, see now... So this is what happened. You took it a couple seconds without being contested, and now you just have a ward here for 6 minutes. This isn't the worst ward to have, but... Like, don't you think it's a little more useful in their jungle, perhaps? Seeing the lane that your creeps are going to see at this point, and like seeing the small camp, like that's not that huge of a deal. This matters a lot more when this tower is up. When this tower is gone, this ward is not so useful right now. Later in the game, it can be useful again in the late game, but right now, in this like early to mid game transition, this ward is not that helpful. What are we at? We're like 50 minutes. Halfway through this game. We're about to start speeding up more, though. So yeah, I like this ward a lot, but do you see how you now have 3 wards up here? And I suspect... Oh, someone else placed this ward. So this is also fine. Is this one about to expire? No. So you have a lot of you have a good amount of overlapping vision here now between these 2 wards. I don't know if you placed both of them, and if you didn't, like, you can't control it. But I might consider... So let's say, before you place this ward here, and you know your team has a ward here, instead of placing it here, I might consider like wanting it further out. I know you were like short on time to do this because the fight was breaking out, but just something to consider. I don't think I've seen you use your ult yet. Which is definitely something you want to consider. trying to use as much as possible on cooldown. Not necessarily waiting for the perfect ult, like the ult that gets the kill. Like you ult a Lich next to the Luna and the Avenge so it kills them. Sometimes you can just ult Luna and set up the rest of your team running in. This is why Aether Lens is so good on her, because there's just no reaction time to Winter's Curse. If you cast it on someone from far away, it's only 80 seconds, kind of long, but also not that bad. So just using it up to set a kill, using it to set up a kill is not bad. Especially it's 4 seconds, right? So imagine it's just you versus Luna here. Luna is not scared of you, and she doesn't know like people are back here. If they run in, perhaps she has a ward and she sees them, she backs up, nothing's gonna happen. But what if you just ult her, and in those 4 seconds, like Darkseer zooms up, or like Nightstalker now has the chance to like run out this way. You know, even though your ult wasn't doing damage, it was just a setup. This is why Winter Wyvern is really good against Puck, who's a really elusive hero. It's hard to set stuff up on him. But you just use Winter's Curse, not for the damage on Puck. It's just to stun Puck and set up like Lena's stun or someone to silence Puck, where Puck can't use all her elusive spells. Sometimes it is a team fight ability where you like have to get a kill with it, and sometimes you just need to set up a kill. Your team is someone that could probably just kill people if they have the setup. This is awkward positioning. So as you guys back away here, let's slow down a little bit. You want to be careful to back out together. So him just TPing is very awkward. You all need to leave like right now. But you see how you're like split up and no one ever de-warded this spot? When you're pushing up this far, you need to pick a side. So like, say you want to push up to this tier 2 tower. Someone needs to de-ward and possibly ward this area, and then this path becomes your getaway. Or you guys de-ward this area, and then this path becomes your getaway. Right now, you guys are pushing up to here without having either of these secure, and now neither of these is a safe getaway. And even running back is like okay, but not the best. And so your friend just TP'd out, which means they can all fight right now. And because you didn't have a secured getaway, like this is an issue. This is something I notice a lot. Cores will just like TP out without realizing the implications of your team, like what that means. A lot of times it's like when people push up to high ground and then someone's like, okay, I'm out, and they just TP within vision. And like the second they start TPing, what everyone has to do is get out immediately. Like there's no time to wait. The higher level you get, the more people will see someone is TPing and immediately go. Like they will time it so that they either cancel the guy's TP and they set up a future play because this guy cannot rotate, or they set it up so like the second he finishes TPing, you immediately start a 5-on-4 fight. And like the core, like OD just left. And so it's like, you're not going to win this fight. It's a close game and you're down a core. So like this time your friend TP'd out and you have like, everyone still has a bit of time to get out, but like you need to get out. Right now Drow is farming. You guys are kind of like standing around like chilling, but like OD is not here. You have to leave. Even with Luna up there. If you want to play together, if you still want to be here, like there needs to be wards here and you need to be closer to help Drow. But you see how like you're over here and your core is over here, the most important person you need to protect, but you're like nowhere near to use spells or anything on them. So if Drow wants to farm here and you ran up this way, I would say you have to come run over here and stay here so that if they go on her, you can use your Arctic burn to like cover over these or fly over these cliffs and then use spells. So like if you had positioned right here, ready to Arctic burn, you could ult this Rubik right now, or maybe ult the Lich would be better, and then heal your Drow while she's stunned, Splinter Blast, and then start auto-attacking everyone like once with Arctic burn. And this would go a lot better. Like one of the supports is definitely dead if you Winter's Curse. And I don't think you've used Winter's Curse yet. So like keeping yourself in a position where you can use it aggressively or defensively is really important. Like imagine, so it's 20 minutes in the game, you hit 6 at 10 minutes. Imagine if you used Winter's Curse essentially off cooldown. You've used it almost 8 times at this point, and you've potentially gotten a kill 8 times. Whereas you have not used it. And so the game is going okay, like, but you could potentially be doing a lot better if you're using these spells as much as off cooldown as possible. I'm gonna assume you didn't know. Like, that did end up setting up 2 kills, so I guess it's okay. I'm gonna guess you didn't know that wasn't the real Luna, because if you knew it was just an illusion, I definitely wouldn't have ulted there. Or if I was going to ult there, I would have ulted the support. So I'm gonna guess that you thought it was the carry. But even then, you should probably use it on the support anyways, because, like, are the supports gonna kill a Luna? Not really. Like, a Lich and a Rubik, they're not gonna kill Luna. But might have been a misclick as well. Let's see. No, I feel like you intentionally clicked it. So yeah, I definitely think, like, clicking the support would have killed the support, or, like, it would have accomplished the same thing. Generally, on Winter's Curse, like, you have to think who does the right-click damage in this game. It's like, do you use your ult on the Luna? No, you actually use it on the supports, because the Luna will kill a Lich. Lich will not kill Luna. And getting either kill is just good for your team, where it's like, it's a 4v5 and they don't have their Lich to provide, like, all his spells. It's like, that's pretty good. If you killed the Luna, yeah, that's great. But it's not really going to happen unless someone else is there to set up. Yeah. Where are we at? We're like an hour. We'll speed up a little bit. As this spell becomes lower cooldown, I would definitely consider not warding on the high grounds. At this point, I still think it's okay, but I think you could definitely be, like, putting it on the low ground and checking high ground. And I know you know how to do that because I saw you do it over here as well. But I'm just going to point it out. As this becomes, like, 20 seconds, I would definitely look to use it a lot more like that. I would heal that guy, that Darkseer that just ran by, or heal this guy. You're full health. There we go. You got a Clarity, you got mangoes. I think these are the mangoes from the very start of the game too, right? Oh yeah, I wanted to check. So what are your neutrals? I would definitely be holding the Trusty Shovel right now. And in fact, I would also take Keen Optic. The cast range on you to set up Winter's Wyvern, Winter's Curse is really important. I don't care about the spell damage on you as a Wyvern. You're just like a support. Like, who cares about the damage from your 2 spells there? The minus armor is particularly painful this game. Like, these guys are doing a lot of physical damage. Even, like, considering Luna's ult and all of their magic damage, like, I don't think it's worth it. I would much rather be digging up stuff, whether that's bounty runes or healing salves, or teleports. Just, like, keeping it in my backpack and swapping it out to use on cooldown, I think is just really good. And then the Keen Optic, I think, is better than this. I think the additional cast range is really important for this hero. He does not have a Force Staff. Drow did not get a Force Staff. So I think you need a Force Staff, not this Glimmer. And again, we talked, like, I think the main issue here is physical damage. And maybe I'm wrong, like, oh, there's no way for us to see it, but, like, sometimes you can see, like, the physical or magic damage, especially if you have Dota Plus. I just feel like the Force Staff is a lot more important. It also helps you get into position to set up abilities if you need to. I would just let this guy die. I don't think they're saving him. That's one of the hard things to know how to do, is to just let people die. This is actually a great example where if I was a support, you don't have buyback in this case. Although I suspect you might have had it before you died. Let's go back. I think you just bought this cloak as you were dying. Oh no, you bought it earlier. Okay. So if you had buyback at this point, this is actually a great example of when I would buy back as a support and TP in here, where to me this looks like a fairly big fight breaking out, and I have 3 cores right here, and any amount of help to win this fight would be great. It's kind of working out anyways. Oh no. Okay, you did get this. So yeah, it ended up being kind of close anyways in a 3v4 fight. So imagine if you had bought back and then contributed to this. Like, as a support, your buyback is quite cheap. And, like, right now you don't even have enough slots for all this stuff. So it's like, I could have bought back. I would have spent 500 gold, but I would have, like, helped win this fight. And then we could have maybe pushed mid tower, get more objectives, just help my team out in general. And, like, is my buyback that important right now? Not really. Glimmer, I think, is okay overall. Like, it is good against some of this stuff. But I just think Force Staff is more important, and then Glimmer can come after that. Okay, nice. Yeah, so I think a lot of these, like, I've seen this a couple times now, so this will be the last time I point it out, or at least talk about it a lot. But where if you're gonna check high ground with your Q, like, I think you can put this further away. I don't think you need to put it right here. Like, this one in particular, look at that. We can see on the minimap that they actually have stuff here. So if you had put this over here, and then you can fly up here to check this one, and then you can fly up here to check this one, it's just a more efficient spot than putting it here. Because it's not so... Well, they can ward in these areas, but, like, still, then you would move this further down a little bit, like here, and then it still covers all of these, and it covers up here. But it's, like, very weird to ward right here if you were the enemy team. Like, why would you put a ward here where it's blocked by trees and all this stuff? Or, like, why would you put a ward, like, here when you could put it up here? A sentry up here will, like, cover all this anyways. Aether over Glimmer also kind of would have been okay to me. It's a little greedy. And if it was a game where you didn't need a Force Staff, I would say that's okay. Because, like I said, setting up Winter's Curse is just really good. But I think that a Force Staff was the best. That's a good Winter's Curse. Okay, we zoomed through that fight way too fast. That's my own fault. Let's slow down so we can look at it a little more. I'm kind of zooming because I do know we're already getting quite long. Okay, so there, this is a good ult. This was unfortunate. I would be glimmering here. Either glimmer her or yourself. That'll break it. She could have also BKB to not take half this damage. So yeah, either glimmer yourself or her in that case so that the Frost Blast isn't just going back and forth the whole time. And at least one of you will take less damage during the fade duration. See how she, like, just dies? Imagine if she had BKB'd sooner, if you had glimmered her sooner, and she was at, like, more, like, 3/4 health during this fight, instead of, like, starting the fight at half health. Like, she had to back up here, and look how low, like, these guys are. You know, if she had a bit more health, I think she could just man up and fight, and hopefully get, like, another lucky... Where is she? Another lucky proc or two. She also had a Force Staff. She could have forced away from that Frost Blast. I don't know. There's a lot that could have gone on to that Chain Frost right there. This is another fight where I would buy back and TP in, seeing how low they are and, like, how much he can help. Looks like he is going to clean it up a little bit. He might die here for this. Oh, that was a stolen wall. I thought that was your own Darkseer wall. Maybe it was both and I wasn't paying attention. Okay. Let's speed up again. Now we could check these guys while you're dead. Take a look at their items. Okay, he's checking it. I rest my case. He did it. Another case where, okay, you don't have Winter's Curse in this game, but this is another time where I'd be, like, totally fine just using Winter's Curse to set up a kill as other people TP in. Also, I think you did click him before TPing out, so that is, like, when you need to buy detection. No big deal. Kind of a big deal. He did get away. That could have been a kill. But, you know now. I don't need to say it anymore. Let's swap it in for the mangoes. I'm sure you'll do that soon enough. In terms of winning the late game, it's tough for you guys. Nature's Prophet is a very good rat, but I would say you guys do win late game. You just have to take the fight well. Craggy Coat is really nice for you. Although Darkseer probably wants it, I would say. What's going on? This is a really dangerous position to be in. When you have no vision against a Vengeful Spirit and a Rubik who can lift and throw you. This is actually too far for him to throw you on the cliff. But he can lift you out of vision and then throw you closer. Yeah, you just can't walk down here. Splinter Blast is such a long cast range. So, like, walk on this side where it's way safer. It doesn't get you killed this game, but That steal should let you know that they have a vision, a ward somewhere around here. Right now, I think you guys should smoke up. It's nighttime. Usually smoking at night is suboptimal because smoke breaks and you still can't see them because of night vision. But actually, because you have a Night Stalker, it's totally okay to smoke right now. And to smoke through wards, and Night Stalker will see people first. He'll be the guy running in front. And just look for a kill. Look to set up. You could use your ult to set up on someone, or you can let them run in. First, go on someone, let the other team react, and then you counter-initiate with your Winter's Curse. Okay, you guys are smoking now. Ult that Rubik. You could have done it if you had a 4-staff. Ult this Luna Revenge. Could also do it if you had a 4-staff. You see how you're just like in a really weird spot and you can't ult? Like, this is why having some kind of mobility item, 4-staff or Blink, is really good on Winter Wyvern. Ult one of these guys. There's so many chances that have good ults. This was a little weird. I don't know if I would have ulted there. It was kind of okay, though. I don't know if it cancels her ult damage. I'm not fully sure. Let's see. Is it? I think it's still damaging you. So that was a little weird. You should just let that one die. You don't need to ult there. But the fight did work out in the end anyways. I'm going to guess you guys end up winning from here. Maybe not on this push, but I feel like you're in a really good spot here. They're all dead. You could get Roshan or the high ground right now. Because you're so close, I would probably say you could get Roshan. Or I'm sorry, the high ground right now. You have Drow, who's a really good tower pusher. I would play some wards if I was you. This is good. Something Wyvern can do. I'll play some wards while you're here. Like, you came up to over here. I'd place a ward like back here and maybe a sentry over here. This ward is not so likely to get dewarded by... A lot of times people will put their sentry like over here, which is very close to not covering here. But now that the mid tower's gone, many people will put the sentry like here or here to cover this area, to cover here, but also the mid. And then this sentry will not cover like back here. And then you'll get a ward that like sees all the way back here, which gives you a ton of vision in their base. Now that they're all respawning, I would be mindful of your positioning again. They were all dead, so I didn't care that you ran up. But now that they're all starting to respawn, I would want to stay back a little more. Okay. This movement as a whole is just as a direct result of like... Remember how earlier we were like, okay, if the core TP's out, you need to leave unless you already have vision established. You're trying to establish vision now, but your core has already left. And so it's a bit awkward. This needs to happen like before. And this is when a matter of seconds matters. Like, if you had done this 10 seconds sooner, she wouldn't have seen you at all, and you'd have vision in that area. And so after this Rax was taken, like, if you guys leave a little sooner together, I think you can do all that. 4-staff now. So, like, the items as a whole, I think were good, but just the ordering was wrong. Because you guys died, you did lose Roshan now. I definitely think you guys are in the position where you should be the one getting Roshan. I think, like, TPing down here is probably unnecessary for Drow. I think you guys should have, like, moved into here as a team and, like, set up to do Roshan right then. And if they come to fight, then, like, with your established vision, you go fight them first. Excellent time. I would... It's actually tough. She has so much armor and the Aegis, so I think she's the last person you need to kill. I would probably try to kill her with your ult. I think I would ult her right now. Like, you 4-staff here, ult her. All of these treants and creeps will hit her. He will hit her with his Blightstone, reducing her armor, I think. She will hit her. Look how much damage she does. 300 plus. You have a 4.5 second at this point? 4.75 seconds. She's got armor. Like, she has a lot, but they do a lot of damage. Where is his item? What the heck? They do a lot of damage. And you could at least get her to a part where she's like... I don't know. I think you would get her down to like 2/3. Are you about to ult her? Let's see. Okay, this is Rubik's. I was about to lose it. Did Rubik have this already? Ooh, he did. I don't know if you knew that. I definitely didn't know that. So maybe you guys knew that, and so you're being a little safe. If you know he has Astral, then actually you need to ult the Rubik, probably. It's really tough, because, like, obviously you can't see Rubik right now. If I didn't know Rubik had Astral, then yeah, I would still ult her. And then he would save her, but it still sets up the initiation, right? Where they're all waiting on this Astral, and then Darkseer comes and, like, queues them all together. Is Darkseer TPing in yet? He is not. So I guess you did have to wait for them to... Darkseer should have TP'd in sooner. Like, all of them, everyone on your team should have... As soon as you see them clumped, I think everyone on your team should TP in. I know you can't control this, but this is what I'm saying is, like, optimal in my opinion. Everyone should have begun TPing. Once all the TPs have gone on for about a second or two, Darkseer in particular should have started first. So he gets here first, and then everyone else follow after that. And Night Stalker could even TP to the back one to avoid the extra long TP cooldown. But once they've all started going for a second, you ult to gather them all up. Darkseer's teleport finishes in that time. He runs out. He queues them all together, ults. So even though your ult didn't get a kill, it set everything up. And then all of their TPs start to finish in, and they run in as these guys are all starting to try to, like, get out of the vacuum wall. Yeah, but your team is a little slow on responding on this one. And Night Stalker's not even here. This is a good heal. In the end, the fight's going to work out. Yep, I would be a little scared if I was you, but you can still contribute with your, like, Q a bit. I would stay on the high ground. I wouldn't run out here. I think it's going to work out. Okay, nice. Okay, overall, very good. Instead of Nature's Prophet, I kind of think you could have ulted Luna, but ulting either one of them was fine. And worked out. You had the right idea. You ulted a core. So, all good. I think you guys win here. This game ends at 36? Yeah. Alright. So that's that. Hour and 12. That's not too bad. Fighting back, but looks like you guys are going to end this. Yep. Yeah, so I don't think I need to talk that much more. So in conclusion, what do you need to work on? The laning could have gone slightly better in terms of some of the pulls. Where, like, you did do a couple good pulls. But then there were also a couple where I think you could have done, like, the small half pulls or, you know, something along that nature. Using Splinter Blast a little more. But overall, the laning stage was honestly decent. Not too many complaints there. The biggest issue, I think, is that I didn't see you use your ult, like, at all for 10 minutes. What the heck? I think something just fell in my house. You didn't use your ult for a really long time, and I would just be looking for somewhere to use your ult. And it would have felt a lot more natural to use your ult if you also played at the top tower part of the map that we were talking about for a bit. So imagine you're up there, and they respawn with 3 heroes. Doesn't that just sound like you will find an opportunity to use your ult there eventually, where, like, the 3 of them are grouped, and you're like, whoop, Winter's Curse. Like, it'll just come up much more naturally. Whereas the way you guys were playing, like, kind of split up the whole time, like, the enemy is also going to be split up following you guys, you know, like 2 here, 1 here, and then it doesn't feel so good to use your ult. So yeah, playing in that top tower after the laning stage was over in that, like, 10 to 15, honestly 10 till whenever you get that tower. Like, you just keep going back there until you get it. I think that would have been really good. It would have just been better in terms of objective priority and creating space and, like, doing things with Darkseer, identifying that he was the playmaker and, like, enabling that. But then it would have also made it easier for you to use your ultimate more. Those were the 2 biggest complaints I would say I had of this game. And honestly, it's not hard to fix, right? Now that I have told you and you know, like, I should just be thinking about moving to my off lane and pressuring the enemy safe lane. Like, that's very easy to do. Anytime Look at the map. Any game you're playing as the hard support. If the laning stage is over, look at the map, and if the enemy safe lane, his tower is there, and your team is like decently, not being crushed, then say like, hey, off laner, 4 support, 5 support, the 3 of us at least, can we go play top until we get this tower? Or, whatever, bot. Like, let us go get the enemy safe lane tower. Sometimes your mid will rotate in to help. Sometimes you'll have a carry like Juggernaut or Void who might TP, use their ult, and then get the tower. And then you leave your carry there, and you guys, the 3 of you, the offlaner, 4 support, and the 5 support, move somewhere else. But just in general, like anytime you see that tower is there, and you're like, I'm not sure what to do, I should go get that tower. All of you go get that tower, and it'll just make it easier to use your ult. Like, you won't even have to think about using your ult sooner. It'll just come up naturally, where it's like, we were all here, I saw some 4th guy teleporting in, and I just ulted. It just becomes a lot easier. And you did win this game overall. Your spell usage in general was okay. There were a couple times we pointed out like some stuff you could do. But yeah. I find it funny. I don't know if this is a bug. I didn't see when you swapped from the Nether Shawl to the Keen Optic. And in fact, I forgot to check what the tier 3 items were. I saw a couple of them. I do think this is pretty good. When I was looking at the tier 1s and 2s, this was definitely the best item. And looks like 2 of the tier 3s are accounted for right here. And so I'm not even sure what the other one were. I don't know if your team saw this or I saw this pop up for the enemy team. But yeah, that is all I got to say about that. Let's look at the net worth real quick. Oh, we looked at it in-game too. I forgot. But yeah, like Drow is on the top for your team, so that's not too bad. Luna was doing kind of well, but I'm not that surprised. Luna, I think, has a bit easier time. Luna versus Darkseer, I think, is a better lane matchup than Drow versus like a Nature's Prophet. So I don't blame you for being a bit behind there. And also, Night Stalker as a 4 is just like not going to pressure Luna. But Drow kind of keeps up too. So like overall, it's weird. We do have to judge ourselves based on how the hard carry does. I know we can't control them, but like oftentimes up to the 10-minute mark, we do have a significant impact on how the carry's doing. So I always like to look at how I am doing, but also how my carry is doing to be like, okay, Drow is at the top, like not too bad. She's a little behind the carry, like everything we just talked about, where it's like, okay, this kind of makes sense. And then other times it's like, oh, we were actually really far behind. Then I didn't feel we were this behind, but my carry didn't do so well. Okay, like what did I do wrong? How the carry is doing is a good benchmark for ourselves. So I hope that was helpful. All in all, good stuff. Thank you. See you next time.